how to ease into the new post-COVID normal. Hey, what's happening? This is Isai Rodriguez, host of the Dasmination Podcast, where I cater to the professional working man, 40 and above, who's looking to make positive changes to his health, lose weight, and become stronger overall through simple lifestyle changes. I'm here to share inspiration, tips, and proven lessons that I've personally learned and lived through my 40 plus years on this here beautiful blue planet. And listen, your health and fitness goals are easier to achieve than you might think. First and foremost, it's all about getting your mind straight right from the get-go. And so I've got a freebie for you called the 10 Dasmination Mind Hacks that'll help you whip your mind into shape so that you can turn around and whip your body into shape. If that sounds good to you, then get on over to podcast.dasmination.com/mindhacks right now to get your freebie today and start using these 10 hacks to exercise consistently and create the real and lasting results that you're truly after and that you absolutely deserve. That's podcast.dasmination.com/mindhacks. Again, that's podcast.dasmination.com/mindhacks. Be in the know starting right now. And so, with all that said, let's get right into the show. Oh yeah. What is popping? What is happening out there, everybody? I hope you guys find yourself in good health. I hope you find yourself in good spirits. I hope you had a wonderful MLK day yesterday. If you had off, then congratulations on your day off. If not, if you were working, then I hope you had a beautiful and blessed day at work and that you didn't have to work also hard and, you did, hopefully work didn't stress you out too much, But, good news over here on this front. My throat pain that I had that I addressed or I told you about last week. So it turned out to be a mildly annoying cold, which is good. As I mentioned, I started to wonder if it was actually COVID, because I just got back from the East Coast, lots of traveling, lots of people, interacting with tellers and agents and the flight crew and things like that. People at the airport, just shuttle trains, things like that. My friends, the buddies, everybody at the wedding. I'm a little paranoid, So I was considering it could potentially, that is the world that we live in these days. I could have potentially caught COVID. So, me being the person that I am and as paranoid as I am, I tested myself, and thankfully, knock on wood, it was not COVID. So, putting everything together and seeing how shortly thereafter, I started feeling very good. I realized, this wasn't COVID at all. It wasn't the flu or anything like that because we are in the season for catching the flu also. So, luckily that was not the case. I drank plenty of fluids, including electrolytes, some antioxidant drinks that I have, and even bumped up my vitamin C intake. And, I get all this good stuff from my own personal online shop, all natural good stuff. And, it really helped, all these, I bumped up, like I said, I bumped up my vitamin C intake and I was drinking more electrolytes than I normally do. Usually I leave the electrolytes for after my workouts, obviously, because you're recuperating. You've burnt a lot of calories, you've sweated a lot, you've profusely, and those electrolytes come in handy. And the antioxidant drinks that I was taking, it just doesn't hurt to bump that up when you're feeling a little under the weather, you know what I mean? So again, got all this good stuff from my own personal online shop, and I am feeling so much better. Actually, a couple of days after the recording of the last episode, I started feeling a lot better. But it's been raining quite a bit over here on the West Coast. If you're not aware, if you have not seen the weather updates online or on television, if you still watch television, there was actually one night last week alone where it didn't rain the night, like the night before, and then the whole day afterwards. So things were relatively dry for that one night, and so I forced myself to walk for an hour with the wife. So obviously, like I said, it's been raining a lot, and so it's been wet, and we haven't been able to go out for our walk as we normally do because it's been raining. It's drizzling, and the cold is, or the rain is really, really cold. And the air is kind of dry. It's kind of weird, so it makes it, if it makes it feel even more cold. You know what I mean? If that even makes sense, I'm not sure, but yeah. So we had this one night last week where it was relatively dry. It wasn't raining, and I was still feeling under the weather, but again, I forced myself to walk for that hour, and let me tell you, it was tough. It was tough to get through that walk, feeling sick and whatnot. But after that night where I walked for that hour, I came home and drank some more electrolytes, and I took a nice hot shower. Went to bed straight after that, after having those drinks, and I had a good night's sleep. And needless to say, I woke up feeling like a champ. Rest is so important. I can't even stress that enough. But that's where we're at right now, feeling much better. Thankfully, this winter weather, it's been crazy this year, but we're doing great. Last year I was laughing a lot because there was so many days like in mid-January, early February, the typical midwinter days, like around this time of the year last year, where the high temperature for the day was in the low to mid 60s. So like it was sunny, it was bright. And, at midday, like 12 noon or so, we started the day off maybe in the mid 40s or so, which was really cold for us. And but by midday, we're looking at mid 60s, almost 70s, and a couple of days it actually hit, the 70 mark. And so, needless to say, those days where the mercury rose to those temperatures, it led me to remove my sweater, my whatever, if I had long sweats, thick sweats, heavy sweats on. I took those off and put some shorts on. So I was laughing last year. This year, not so much. We've been topping off at an average of, low to mid 50s with a lot of rain, a lot of wind, all that good stuff. So thankfully, not much flooding, but plenty of rain and wind and stuff. But, we've been pretty safe from the flooding. So knock on wood, thankfully, we're doing well. We haven't lost power or anything like that. So yeah, that's what's going on at Casa de Rodriguez. So I hope you guys out there are feeling great. I hope you guys are blessed. I hope you're feeling energized. I hope you guys are ready to rock and roll. I hope you're taking 2023 by storm. It's already been 2 weeks now. We're 2 weeks into the new month, into the new year, and it already feels like this year is going by pretty quick. But I'm not going to keep saying that because I think the more that I say it, the faster it goes, so I'm going to stop that. And I'm just going to say that it's going well. I'm happy. I'm healthy. I really hope you guys are doing just as well out there with your friends and family. And yeah. So anyway, that being said, what are we talking about in this week's installment of Meat and Potatoes? Well, we're talking about this new normal, this quote unquote, this new normal that we're living through, or I'm going to say transitioning to, because for a lot of us, I know we haven't fully transitioned to the new normal or what is considered to be normal. And we have to kind of ease into it. We can't just, it's going to be difficult just to go from one from one new normal to another. And I'm talking about this whole post-COVID world that we're living in now. So, for many people, the coronavirus pandemic brought with it a whole brand new set of challenges that most of us had. We've never faced it before. It was unprecedented. It was new. No one knew how to deal with this whole situation. And it's not to say that we as a society have never faced something like this in the past or ever, but for many of us, it was the first time that we faced it personally, as in firsthand experience. Like you read about it, about different plagues that happened throughout history, and as they say, hindsight is 20/20. It sure is. It's like crystal clear. But as as you yourself are living through it, as you're seeing things unfold before your own eyes, as we sifted through all the information that we got from everywhere, through news media, through social media, through human resources department, for those of you that were still at the had to go to the office, through through other direct channels to like certain government entities. Like, it was our first time experiencing this through that first-hand perspective. It basically flipped our worlds upside down in a matter of months. It uprooted our usual routines. It produced a ridiculous amount of stress and anxiety in our lives, and it forced people out of their comfort zone. All of these changes, this led to other changes in overall health. We talked about some of the different ways it affected our health in last week's episode. And, I highly suggest you going back and listening to that episode if you want to know more. And now this transition out of lockdown, it may bring its own set of challenges with, like I said, adapting to a new normal. So let's talk about that. Let's talk about how you would potentially find your new normal, quote unquote, new normal, in the aftermath of what's going down in history as COVID-19. You know what I mean? And I think this is important because it'll help us from a mental standpoint. If we understand what went down, confront it head on, learn from it, and then move on. In my experience, when you confront the uncomfortable and, learn from it, this is the only way we grow, period. So let's do it. Let's get right into it. So first off, people have gone on record and talked about how they feel more stress in their lives than ever before, anxiety, depression, mood disorders. They've all shot up through the roof ever since the pandemic began, and while it ran its course. And now, we're in this wake of the aftermath. The storm has passed, the boat has sailed, but the wake is still, we're still kind of surfing the waves, if you will. Now we're dealing with basically the nuclear fallout produced by COVID and everything that made up those 2.5 hellish years, and since mental health is closely related to physical health, it's safe to say that, diet and exercise, or lack thereof, most likely had some influence. There were so many effects on our eating habits. People said they were eating different foods than what they normally would, aka junk food, aka crap, as I like to refer to it as. They were eating more or less than usual, so they were eating more of the bad stuff and less of the good stuff. And they also mentioned how they struggled with food insecurity and disordered eating. These are all research-backed reports. We all noticed changes in our weight during the pandemic. I don't think there's anybody that I've talked to that has said, that their weight has remained constant, or like if they were on a weight loss type of regimen pre-COVID, then post-COVID or during COVID, a lot of people had put on that weight, or they kind of fell off the wagon, if you will, So some people gained weight, others lost weight. It was a mess, But as the lockdown came to an end, we all started this new phase of the pandemic, or the part where we're dealing with the nuclear fallout, as if you will. You may have found yourself looking for ways to get back to some of your previous routines. Maybe you're looking to get back to some of your old ways of being, or some of your old habits. I mean, as long as they're not bad habits, you'll be fine. But I found 5 simple tricks that'll help you ease back into a new normal after the fallout from COVID settles to the ground, and we start resuming a regular life at 100% capacity. In my opinion, it's going to take some time to get there, but if we use these 5 tricks that I'm about to share with you, then keep them in mind, implement them as you go along in your life, I think you'll find it a lot easier to get into the swing of your new normal, whatever that may be for you. So here we go. The first trick that I have for you is to envision a new normal. What do we mean by that? Envision a new normal. What does that mean? So here we go. So a lot, we can all agree that a lot has changed over the past year and a half, right? And the reality is that, things may never look the same as they did before the whole pandemic took control. So instead of working toward how things used to be, think about how you want your new normal to look like. This is your chance to really, truly start over. Blank slate, maybe create some new habits you've always been wanting to start, Envision it. Keep that in mind. Envision your new normal. Start with a clean slate, And how do you want your life to be? Like, think about that. Really ask yourself, how do I see my life being? Again, forget about how things used to be, because they may never, ever be the same again, Reset your expectations based on how things are today, right now. You can do this by focusing on things in your life that you have control over, and can change, rather than those things that you can't. I know a lot of people that struggle with that. They focus on the things that they cannot control. And then that inability to control those things that they can't control brings them down. And as it brings them down, it affects them mentally. It affects them in a negative way. Like it brings their energy down with it. For example, you may not be able to attend your favorite group workout class. I had mentioned this in the last episode, how there were people when we flew into DC and we held that dance fitness session live and in person. There were people that came to that session that told us, they looked us and they were like, can you believe that this is our first time stepping foot in a gym ever since COVID started? And mind you, this has been like, we're in January of 2023. This is well over 2 years now that we've been pretty much in isolation or lockdown or whatever what have you, so, but you can decide to take that step, to ask a friend to take a weekly or even a daily walk instead. You don't have to get yourself into the gym if you so choose not to, you know what I mean? But make that decision to make a good change in your life for the better, Number 2, set a goal. So once you have a vision, it kind of all starts with a vision, if you ask me, because what you envision will play out in real life once you start taking action. So once you have that vision of your new normal in mind, then consider setting a goal to keep you motivated and on track, by identifying and setting a specific goal, or maybe even a few small goals. This will give you something solid that you can work towards, So first, reflect on the specific things that you want to change, and then make sure to set a goal that's realistic, actionable, measurable, and motivating. Again, you want to set a goal for each thing in your life that you want to change that is realistic, actionable, measurable, and motivating. Literally sit down with a pen and paper and think about all the things you'd like to change. And then next to each thing that you want to change, write down a goal that is realistic, actionable, measurable, and motivating. And finally, keep yourself accountable to letting your friend or a family member know what your intentions are. It's amazing how much progress we can make when we own up to it and we verbalize it to someone close. Because once it's out in the open like that, like it's kind of like, well, I don't want to be seen as someone who talks out of his ass or just talks shit, I'm telling you, this simple action of putting it out there in the universe and verbalizing it, like this will help your goal feel like something concrete. It'll solidify in your mind, something that you're 100% accountable for. Give it a shot. Let me know how that works out for you. I'm telling you, you will not be disappointed. Number 3, make a plan. So setting a plan for how you're going to reach your goals and step into your new normal may be one of the quickest ways to actually reach that new normal and to hit those goals, And now a plan doesn't have to be overwhelming or give you anxiety or anything like that. It can be a simple set of steps that you plan to take to help keep your goals and your new normal in the forefront of your mind. You want to keep it at the top of or the front of your mind, I should say, and make it a plan that isn't hard at all. Because here's the thing, if it's at the top of your mind, if it's in front, like you're always keeping it in mind, like you're always thinking about it, you're always like, okay, what should I do to reach this plan? I have this plan, I have these goals. That if that's always on your mind, then you're more likely to follow through on those action steps that lead to you reaching your goals. And making a plan isn't all that hard, All you have to do to make your specific plan is first think about all of the individual steps you'll need to take to reach your goal. So, you might have to figure out how much time you'll need each day, or you may need to figure out what specific supplies you'll need to reach your goal, any barriers you'll need to overcome, things like that. Some call this thinking outside the box. For me and my ADHD mind, it's just simply normal thinking, because that's the only way that I know how to think. That's how the good Lord decided to wire my massive brain. And so there you go, but that being said, you may also want to figure out how you'll document your progress. Is it going to be, pen and paper? Is it going to be digital notepad, hieroglyphics on the wall of your room? I don't know. Whatever your thing is for keeping track of things and goals and whatever, if you're a list person, go with it. Don't overthink it. Just go with it, do it, and take action. Number 4, focus on nutrients. Now, this one is more for those who are specifically looking to lose weight. So if losing weight is part of the new normal that you have in mind, then you have to fight the urge to focus on numbers like calorie intake or the number on the scale. So I want you to repeat after me. Fuck that shit. It's just a number. It's a guideline at most, a suggestion. It's not for you to obsess over. That's not the purpose. What you want to do instead is to focus on eating nutrient-dense foods, foods that are associated with improved mental health and overall wellness. So, we're talking about foods that are high in nutrients like iron and omega-3 fatty acids, vitamin B12, folate, zinc, things like that. Like that's what we're talking about. There's a lot of data that shows that eating certain foods while avoiding others can improve the balance of healthy bacteria in your gut. Well, if you do that, then you'll be supporting a healthy gut and a healthy brain. Win-win, right? So you want to eat fruits like apples, bananas, berries, pears, oranges, vegetables. You want to eat things like tomatoes and cucumbers, broccoli, leafy greens, peppers. You want to eat dairy foods like unsweetened milk and yogurt, cheese and sour cream. How about whole grains like oats and barley, brown rice and quinoa? all great for you. You know what I mean? And of course, let's not forget your healthy fats. So fatty fish, avocados, olives, and olive oil, things like that, you know. Now, on the flip side, because, you know, a lot of times I like to do the pros and cons of things because, you know, if you don't know what the cons are, it's a lot harder to avoid them. You know, it's good to know the pros, but it's also good to know the cons. You know, so on the flip side, on the other side of the coin, there are some things that you'll want to stay away from, like hard candy, pastries, and soda. Kind of common sense if you ask me, but you know, nonetheless, it warrants the mentioning on a show like this. So anyway, also stay away from refined grains like bread, cakes, and cookies. These are huge things in my household, and it takes a lot for me to resist the bread and the cakes and the cookies and all that good stuff. So, you know, I'm right there with you. It's a struggle for me too. But unfortunately, I have other people in my household that do not follow the same dietary restrictions that I put myself through. So, you know, I can't hold them to my standards, you know. So anyway, also things like processed meats like bacon and cured meat and hot dogs, things like that, you know. And as I usually suggest, or if you're, you know, simply concerned that you're not getting the right amount of, you know, any particular nutrient, then supplement. That's a necessity. There's no way around it. So, for example, many people, including older adults and, those on restrictive diets, many of the people in these demographics are more likely to have low levels of vitamin D and B12, and these deficits will have a negative effect on overall health, including the mental health, the state of your mental health. So think about that. Let that marinate in your brain for a bit. Step one to better mental health is making sure your physical health is in order, and your physical health is led by the nutrients that you put into your body. And then you wonder why everyone at the gym is always smiling, right? Well, for the most part, you know, you can always tell who's just there to look muscular and strong because they're usually from one station to another, just lifting with a big old Ugg mug on their face. And then, you know, you'll notice who are the people that are there to be healthy. You know, it's all in the smile. I'll tell you, it's all in the smile. Next time you're at the gym, take a look around and see what you see. But that being said, our fifth trick is a big one. Maybe perhaps the most important one of all the other tricks, you know, and here it is. Number 5, take it easy on yourself as you transition to your new normal, like your new routine. So remember, this whole situation is new for everyone. It's new for you. It'll be new for me. So be easy on yourselves, my fellows. Be easy. You know, figuring out your new normal may take a little time, a little experimentation, but trust yourself to know what's best for you on any given day as you aspire to meet your health goals, because if you don't do it for yourself, then who is, right? As you reach toward your new normal, try to be flexible with yourself. Have realistic expectations for yourself. Practice self-acceptance. Like, know what you're capable of and what you're not. You know what I mean? And work with that. Like I just said, for me, the sweets, the breads, the cookies, the cakes, all that is hard for me to stay away from. So I need to keep that in the back of my head and potentially remove myself from certain situations that have or include those things that I shouldn't be having, you know? Use positive self-talk and affirmations to keep you in line with your goals and to stay motivated. And if you need it, lean on a support team or a support system. So this last point, the support system, I'm actually looking to put something together online, somewhere where you can go for support, ask questions, get advice, etc. I want to bring trainers, coaches, nutritionists, naturopathic doctors, and some other professionals together to help with the whole community. That's my ultimate goal, is to have like just a bunch of, you know, professionals in there that you can go in, tap into, and potentially pick their brain a little, maybe get some advice, things like that. Yeah. But right now it's just a thought on paper. So I don't know where it'll ultimately go at this point, but who knows? Who knows? Maybe someday in the near future, I might make a surprise announcement. We'll see what happens. But, moving this episode along, discovering your new normal in this post-pandemic world may take a little time and a little planning. So just, keep that in mind. Be easy on yourself, choosing specific goals to work towards, eating the right things, and taking it slowly can really help ease the stress involved in this process. And, I'm always for easing of the stress. Whenever there's a way that we can reduce the stress in our life, even if it's just a little bit, I'm all for it. I'll give it a shot. And here, this is the bottom line. People all around the world have taken a hit to their physical and mental health throughout the coronavirus pandemic, throughout this whole COVID pandemic thing. Like, everyone in the world, on the globe, walking, today, has taken a hit in some form or fashion, whether physical or mental. It's affected us in multiple ways, some more than others, but regardless, it has, it's affected us in so many different ways. But there's one thing that says, that stays the same for most, and it's, people are ready to regain control of their health habits. They're ready to regain control of their life, and the first step is getting, in my opinion, the first step is getting regular exercise and eating a healthy diet. This not only has the potential to help with things like weight loss, but also helps support your mental health in the process. And when you take things slow and ease into your new normal with a few small goals and a plan for how you're going to reach them, suddenly things start to look a little brighter. The light at the end of the tunnel gets brighter and brighter and brighter until you're overcome by so much light, so much sunshine that you can't help but look around and think how beautiful everything seems. Suddenly the world is a much more beautiful place to be in. Because here's the thing, you deserve it, your family deserves it, and this whole world is a better place with you in it. And so, with all that said and done, that's it, you guys. That's my show for today. I hope you found some valuable information here, and if nothing else, I hope I've entertained you for a few minutes and was able to bring you a little manly sunshine to your day. Thanks for taking some time out of your day to listen to me. It's very much appreciated. And look, your health and fitness goals are easier to achieve than you might think. First and foremost, it's all about getting your mind straight right from the get-go. And so I've got a freebie for you called the 10 Daspination Mind Hacks that'll help you whip your mind into shape so you can turn around and whip your body into shape. Does that sound good to you? Then head on over to podcast.daspination.com/mindhacks to get your freebie today and start using these 10 hacks to exercise consistently and create the real lasting results that you're truly after and that you absolutely deserve. That's podcast.daspination.com/mindhacks. Again, that's podcast.daspination.com/mindhacks. Be in the know starting right now. Until our next chat, take care now. Bye.